Then again, Monday at 1 o'clock. I would strongly encourage you to tune in if you can. We'll have a lot of announcements today, Friday, Monday, in anticipation of Phase 3. Also, you're seeing a lot of changes in the virus around the country. I'm going to address that today, and I'll continue to address that. We're in a good place in Rhode Island as it relates to the virus. But as a country, this is a picture that's changing and evolving every day. So I'm asking you to stay informed. I'd like you to tune in here at 1 o'clock if you can. If you can catch it later, that's fine. Whatever way, I'd ask you to please stay informed. It's the best way to keep yourself safe and to keep Rhode Island in the strong position that we're in. If you can't tune in, I know lots of people are going back to work, which is great. The kids are going back to camp, which is great. I would encourage you to sign up for daily emails. You can go to governor.ri.gov. So our website, governor.ri.gov. Sign up for the daily emails. I know you might not have time to tune in the middle of the day, but we'll send you an email every day. It takes a minute to read, and it's a quick, easy way to stay informed. And on Saturdays, we'll give you the recap for the week. So I'm asking you, governor.ri.gov, stay informed. A lot of people have been asking me, how come Rhode Island's doing so well? You know, we're doing a lot better. I think it's because people are informed. People are informed, they're following the rules, they know the rules, so I would ask you to continue to do that. In the weeks ahead, I'm also going to be scaling back the frequency of this press conference. We went to daily, to 3 times a week. You know, we're going to get to a place soon where it'll be probably a day a week. So it's really important that you find a way to stay informed, which is why I'm strongly encourage you to sign up for these emails, governor.ri.gov. Okay, as we always do in our time together at 1 o'clock, we're going to begin with the data, which continues, thankfully, to be a good news story, and I'd ask you please to put the data on the screen. As you can see, we continue to trend in the right direction. We have another 73 cases to report today. And very sadly, yet again, another 6 deaths. So we watch this every day. We watch it every day, the data for the state, particular communities, areas we're worried about, and now we are particularly watching it closely as we think about whether we're ready to enter Phase 3. But again, the data that you see there should make you feel confident that in Rhode Island we're dealing very well with the virus. And I'm encouraged. Now, today I want to have a really serious conversation with the people of Rhode Island, because not every state is in the situation that we're in. And if we get complacent, we're going to be back in a mess. We're going to be right back where we were when we started this. And I do see signs that we're all getting complacent. People refusing to wear a mask, businesses openly violating the rules. Not many. The vast majority are doing exactly what's required. Crowds on the beach when we ask you to disperse, being impatient or rude. I want to be crystal clear about this. This is about science. This isn't about politics. This isn't about what you might want to do. This isn't about what you think might be best to do or most convenient to do. This is just about the facts. Rhode Island right now is in a very good place around controlling this virus. And because of that, people are going back to work. We're going to open school in the fall. Our kids get to go to camp. We get to go to the beach. That is all good. As sure as I'm standing here, if we start to break the rules, we will have to unwind that progress and close off some of our economy, some of our recreation, and some of what we love doing. And there's no reason that that should happen. No reason for it. We should never again have to do that. If we wear our masks, wash our hands, get tested, stay home when we're sick, and follow the rules. Now, you might say, you might not agree with that. So let me just tell you about some of the statistics of what's happening around the country and how quickly our fortunes could change if we start to break the rules. Right now, 33 states now have a rolling average of new cases that are higher than last week. That is a bad trend. That means they're headed in the wrong direction. Now, if you don't believe in the case counts, because different states test at different levels, then let's look at the hospitalizations, which you cannot argue with because that is a fact. People in the hospital because they have the virus. Right now, 7 states are reporting new all-time highs of hospitalizations. All-time highs. That means higher than 2 months ago. Arizona, Arkansas, California, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. Arizona had to again cancel elective surgeries and non-critical procedures last week to make room in the hospitals for the extra surge in COVID patients. In 2 weeks, Texas saw a doubling in its hospitalizations. They went from, in a just about a 2-week period, they went from 1,800 hospitalizations to over 3,000, 3,200. That started on June 5th. Leading into June 5th, the week right before June 5th, Texas looked like it was in a plateau. Plateau in the hospitalizations, things look good. Now the governor in Texas is back out there asking people to stay at home. Home is the safest place to be. In 3 weeks, Arizona saw a doubling of the number of people in its hospitals, from about 1,100 people in the hospital to over 2,200 people in the hospital. Same thing. Before that, plateaus in Arizona. So why am I saying this? This can change quickly. These states were in a plateau, and within a matter of weeks, they are seeing their hospitals filled with COVID patients. I don't want that to be us. I don't want to be back up here at this podium telling you the safest place to be is in your home. And there's no reason we should have to do that if we follow the rules. But if we get complacent, if we think we know better, if we want to deny the facts, if we want to try to outrun the virus, which isn't possible, then that's where we're going to be. And I think that would be horrible because there's people's livelihoods and jobs that are on the line. Also, the vast, vast majority of Rhode Islanders have done exactly the right thing, and they should be rewarded for their compliance and not punished because of the minority that refuses to own their shared responsibility to the people of Rhode Island and do the right thing so we can all get through this. Now, many of you may ask, why is this happening in these other states? And I have been honest with you from the minute this started, so I'll be honest with you now. We're not sure. We don't really know. No one really knows. But here's what I do know. I will tell you the facts. 11 out of 15 states, including our own state, where mask wearing is mandated, have seen continued decline in cases. That's just a fact. I'm just telling you the facts. States that have a mandate around mask wearing and higher compliance of mask wearing are doing better and continue to see decline in cases, including in our own state. We also know, because we look at this every day, there's a correlation between the amount of testing, the availability of testing, and the amount of contact tracing and how the virus is progressing. So here in Rhode Island, we have a very aggressive testing approach, the most aggressive in America. And we're going to keep it that way. In fact, we're going to double down and do more testing. And a very disciplined contact tracing effort. The other day I was asked, how do you know the contact tracing is working? Well, I would say the proof is in the pudding. We haven't had a surge. We haven't had an outbreak that we can't control. And I would just ask everyone out there again, if you haven't downloaded the Crush COVID RI app, now's a good time to do it. There's 50,000 of us who have done it, and I'm asking everyone to do it. We don't want to wind up in a mess again. If you've been getting a little lax or lazy with your contact tracing notebook, I'm asking you to buckle down, and myself included, my family included, take a minute every night to write down who you were with. Because if you get sick, we need to see that notebook, and we need to immediately contact everyone you've been in close contact with in the week before. That is the way to fight this virus. Right now we have a winning formula in Rhode Island, and I'm asking you, the people of Rhode Island, to come together and stick with the formula so we can continue to open our economy and do so safely. And I will tell you, many other states are beginning to halt their economic reopening. Governors who had said we're moving forward a phase are saying, hold on a minute. I'm not there with Rhode Island because we continue to see good numbers, but it is really eye-opening to look at how quickly this picture can change. So I think we need to approach this virus with a sense of humility and recognize that it's here, and if we need to follow the rules so it doesn't overtake us, which could happen in a week or 2 or 3. So I'm putting that out there, and I'm asking Rhode Island to continue, even though it's summer, even though we're outside, even though our cases are reduced, even though we're getting back to normal, it is more important than ever to follow these rules.